Yeah, man. We here first thing in the morning. You already know. Shout out to the real. The truth is a bitter pill, as you already know. Hold on 1 second. Let me fix something. Thought I already fixed it, but we gonna get it together. Hold on. Wait a minute. There we go. I don't know why it wasn't popping up, but we here. Yeah, man. I know y'all be loving these shows like this, man. We gonna get on camera in a second. Yeah. Hold on one quick. Shout out to my people, true warrior scholar in the building like always, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like butter, baby. That's that New Jack City. The silent investor. What's poppin', man? Ontario, California. Oh yeah. You ever heard of I don't know, man. I don't know if I remember the name. Is it 4th Street Hustler Crip? Something like that in Ontario? Put me up on game because I had a homeboy that was a Crip from Ontario. Um, it was something 4th Street, if I'm not mistaken. You know, it was a black dude, and it was a white dude that was from Ontario, man. You know, I was in the county jail with them dudes, man, like 12, 13 years ago. It's been a minute. But anyway, man, we ain't finna talk about that. When you said Ontario, you know, it reminded me of two cats that I was cool with from that region. But anyway, man, let's get into the content. You already know what it is. King Supreme, first thing in the morning. Let's get the podcast cracking. Crack a lack a lacking. Pressy Valentine, you crazy. Shorty McGriff. Oh man, it ain't nothing. Want to get y'all boys up in here real early, man, so we can get to this content. Let's get to the bottom of the situation, you know? A lot of people are pressed about this and pressed about that, but we gonna get it in. It's big business, baby. Big old business. Now we're talking about Latinos in hip hop, Mexicans in hip hop, right? And you know, man, I've done a lot of content about this subject right here, and you know, it's crazy. But I know y'all gonna love it. We here first thing in the morning. Hey man, I like to get this thing started early. So like around 1 p.m., 12:30 p.m., I'll be on my second live stream, man. And not only that, I'm working on like shorter videos too, 10, 15-minute videos. Excuse me. So what I want to do is I want to give you guys like 10, 15-minute videos, at least two of those and two streams a day, man. We going hard in the paint. True warrior scholar. What's popping? Really in the field, said at the job right now. So this live is perfect. Hey man, I appreciate you for tapping in, man. Where's your hip hop clown? Why you worried about Mexicans? You dumb. Mexicans are the ones talking about us, you clown. Go somewhere and paint your face. You on my podcast. I talk about what I want to talk about. And the subject is Mexicans complaining about not being in a higher space in hip hop. Basically, Mexicans want a higher position in hip hop. And you got people like the hater world who said blacks are holding Mexicans back in hip hop. So you guys were talking about us. I'm just responding to some of the silly things that your people said. Paint your face, get a red nose, put a curly wig on, and put on some left shoes, 2 red left shoes. That's what you can do. Yeah. That's what you can do. Uh-huh. Now, how about that? Yeah. Shout out to Boris Shock, man. Yeah. How about that? That's what we doing this morning. So get on up in here, man. We're gonna have the show, and it's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be wonderful. Shout out to Phil Scott. I seen his podcast. Now there's a Mexican podcast about I think it's called The Fool Community or The Fool Community. Because like, hey, what up, fool? When you say, hey, what up, fool, you got to take the L off. So it's FOO. What up, fool? You know what I'm saying? Coach Falcon, man, what's popping? He said, I remind you of Exhibit X to the Z Exhibit. Shout out to Exhibit. I remember Exhibit doing this thing. But anyway, man, we ain't gonna waste no time. Let's dive right into the content. You know?
Hispanic gentlemen, they think they were Mexican to be exact. And they were talking about hip hop. And, the last time I was into this hip hop conversation, Fat Joe was the center of it. And Fat Joe learned real quick about it's a new day, it's a new delineation time. And he wasn't going to just disrespect the culture. We are gatekeeping the culture. Well, on this podcast, they're talking about why.
We got to gatekeep our culture, man, because we make everything cool as Black Americans, jazz, rock, country, the blues, R&B, disco. Foundational Black Americans created all that music, and white people have stole a lot of this music, right? You know what I mean? We're the talent. They own the companies. So they've been able to steal from us, man. But hey, man, you live and you learn. So what we got to do with our culture is we got to gatekeep it, man. Why would we allow other races in our culture? Why would we put somebody in a better position than us in our own culture? It makes no sense. If you go to a construction job, right, and the manager and the supervisor is Mexican, you're going to have mostly Mexicans working there. You might have a black here and a black there, because when Mexicans get in position, they gatekeep those positions. And for the most part, they only bring their people in. That's what they do. Mexicans are very territorial and racial. Let's be real. I don't see why Mexicans don't make music that comes from their own culture. Because guess what? Foundational Black Americans, we don't make music from other people's cultures. We have so much talent in the FBA community. We don't need to borrow music from another race. We don't need to mimic or replicate music from other races. We got our own music. We're very creative when it comes to music. Just study the history of this country. The oldies, R&B, rock and roll, jazz, country, all that comes from us. The blues, disco, house music, hip hop. And what people don't understand is hip hop comes from samples of the oldies, samples of jazz, samples of funk music. Hip hop comes from the music that we created prior to hip hop. But we'll get into that later on in the podcast. So when I see people talking about our culture, culture, this one Mexican cat was saying we got a great culture. Okay. And I don't say this to be disrespectful. This is a real question. If Mexicans love their culture so much, how come they don't make music from their own culture? Why do you make Black music? Why do you replicate? Why Why imitate black culture so hard if you love your culture so much? Let me tell you, foundational black Americans, we love our culture so much. You will never see us making Mexican music. You will never see us making Asian music, white music. We make music that comes from our culture. White people stole rock and roll from foundational black Americans. We created that. Country music, foundational black Americans created that. People always steal from us for financial gain. So why would we let Mexicans profit off of our culture while being disrespectful at the same time? History has a way of repeating itself. People are way too comfortable copying everything we do while being disrespectful at the same time. I got to be real with you. Mexicans are some of the most racist Latinos. They are. And I'm going to show you some videos from their own people talking about talking about how anti-black racism is pretty much a part of their culture. Viva la raza, let's whiten up the race, let's eliminate the black gene. Yeah. East LA, there was firebombing black people apartments just for living over there. The Hawaiian Gardens, firebombing black people apartments just for living there. The Avenues gang attacking random people who are not gangbangers who just live there. Mexicans in Southern California have a loose alliance with white supremacists and skinheads and peckerwoods. Come on, man. Why would we allow people who come from that culture? Anyway, let's get into it. I'll break that stuff down as the video goes on. I need y'all to bless that like button, man. It's time to get up in here. Let's get it.
Hispanic rapper, Mexican to be exact. And they were talking about hip hop. And, last time we was into this hip hop conversation, Fat Joe was the center of it. And Fat Joe learned real quick about it's a new day.
You don't make your music. Let me tell you something, real talk, before I get into this. You don't make your own music. You guys want to be rappers. You're not making music from Mexican culture. Hip hop is black culture. What are you, dumb? Do you lack brain cells? Do you lack common sense? Mexicans do not. I'm talking about the young Mexicans. I'm not talking about Mexicans from Mexico. Mexican Americans are infatuated with black culture. Mexicans in America are influenced by black culture. They don't want to make music from their own culture. They want to make music. They want to make the same music that black folks create. Show me young Mexicans who make music that comes from their family members' culture. Show me. You can't. That's the point that I'm making. Our culture influences people so much that even when people don't like us, they still copy our style. They still copy everything we do, even when they hate us. That's how powerful our culture is. Hip hop has influenced the world. You got a lot of people who can't stand black folks, but they love to copy our music. They love to copy our culture. We don't do that to other people. We're not influenced by the music you guys make. We have our own culture. Hip hop, R&B. Listen, the music that we make as foundational black Americans influences the world. So I get it. I understand it. Foundational black Americans, we are that dope. We have that much influence.
It's a new delineation time, and he wasn't going to disrespect the culture. We are gatekeeping the culture. Well, on this podcast, they're talking about why Hispanic rappers don't have the notoriety, of the bigger artists in our community, like a Kendrick Lamar, right? Well, I want you to listen to the reasoning why they feel that this is happening.
We would have more superstars if these fools weren't saying the N-word every other word in their raps, fool. I think it turns a lot of fools off, like whether it be black people or Mexican fools. I think it turns more Mexican people off than black fools. No cap. Like Mexican people be listening to that. Every time a fool community rapper gets posted, you go in the comments, a fool saying the N-word, hell, it's like, this was bumping until he said the N-word. I turned that off. That's all I'm saying. Why isn't Jeezy as big as like Tyga in 2012, YG in 2015? Like, that's where I think Mexican rap can be. I think we can have a Drake, we can have a Kendrick, and I think one of the things that's limited us is saying the N-word, a word that isn't even ours. We have our own culture that's dope.
Question.
I think we should focus on that.
So are you saying, Jeezy Clip that clip.
Are you saying Jeezy would be bigger if he drops in the N-word? Is that what you're saying?
1000%. And you can look at I listened to Mexican OT. Last time I came to LA, I listened to the whole album front to back. That fool didn't say the N-word once after the N-word controversy. The clip he had.
They're still having conversations.
Let's go back to this. I'm gonna dissect this, man. You know how I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dissect this.
Artists in our community like Kendrick Lamar, right? Well, I want you to listen to the reasoning why they feel that this.
They want to be big in our culture. Make your own music. Why would we let other races get big in our culture? For what? Everybody gatekeeps their culture. If you go to the Asian community, you can't put no black business in the Asian community. You can't put no black business in the Mexican community. We've allowed all these people to put businesses in our community. Now they want to steal our culture. Now they want to steal our music. They want to be just as big as us, or if not bigger, in our own culture. Why would we allow that? What sense does that make? You don't see us making music that comes from Mexican and Latino culture and then complaining that we can't get big as the Latino artists? That is crazy.
We would have more superstars if these fools weren't saying the N-word every other word and they rap. I think it turns a lot of fools off, like whether it be black people or Mexican fools. I think it turns more Mexican people off than black fools. No cap. Like Mexican people be listening to that every time a fool community rapper gets posted. You go in the comments, a fool saying the N-word, hell, it's like, this was bumping until he said the N-word. I turned that off. That's all I'm saying. Why isn't Jeezy as big as like Tyga in 2012, YG in 2015? Like,
he's not Tiger. He's not Kendrick. He's a Mexican. He's okay. Why do Mexicans deserve to be big as black people in our own music and our own culture? If you're turned off by the N-word, then you should be turned off by Mexicans rapping. If you're going to say the N-word is a black thing, then so is hip-hop. Hip-hop is a black thing. It don't make no sense for you to say, well, Mexicans don't like Mexicans using the N-word because that's for black people. Well, guess what? Black people created hip-hop. If Mexicans want to be big in music, how come you guys just don't make music that comes from your own culture? Problem solved. What you're saying makes no sense. Why would we let Mexicans or other races be bigger than us or just as big in our own music and our own culture? It don't make no sense. And on top of that, let's take it a step further. Mexicans who rap imitate everything we do. They say on the Dead Homies, they use the N-word, they rap with a black slang. If you listen to Mexican rappers today, they try their best to not sound Mexican. They try their best to sound black and not Mexican. So they rap with a black accent. They rap with a black slang. These young Mexicans abandoned the Cholo culture because they understand that Cholo culture has no place in hip hop, which is why they are trying their best to sound black. Why would Why would I listen to somebody who's pretending to be black when I can just listen to somebody who is black? Why would I rock with somebody who's pretending to be a Mexican when I can just rock with somebody who is a Mexican? Come on, let's use common sense. Who's going to sound better, the people who's pretending to be black or the people who are black? So it's common sense why Mexicans can't get as big as blacks in our own culture. You guys are imitating our style, copying our swag, copying our slang, studying and mimicking everything we do. Why would I get the carbon copy when I can just go and get the real thing? It makes no sense. Why would I get the bootleg when I can just go get the real thing? I'm just being honest with you.
That's where I think Mexican until he said the N-word, I turned that off. That's all I'm saying. Why isn't Jeezy as big as like Tyga in 2012, YG in 2015? Like, that's where I think Mexican rap can be. I think we can have a Drake, we can have a Kendrick, and I think one of the things that's limited us is saying the N-word, a word that isn't even ours. We have our own culture that's dope.
Question.
I think we should focus on that.
So are you saying, Jeezy?
Clip that clip.
Are you saying Jeezy would be bigger if he drops in the N-word? Is that what you're saying?
1000%. And you can look at I listened to Mexican OT. Last time I came to LA, I listened to the whole album front to back. That fool didn't say the N-word once after the N-word controversy. The clip he had.
They're still having conversations about what they can do to scale up in hip hop. You know, they've said things like, oh, the black people are holding us back. And no, black people are not holding you back. The simple fact is that a lot of your rappers just aren't really just good enough to get our attention like that and for us to listen to. Then you have
shout out to Guillory. He said, why would people want to see somebody copy another culture when they can see the real deal? I mean, I've been saying that if you can get the real deal, why would you listen to somebody who's copying and imitating? Right? If I want a Mercedes Benz, why would I get a fake one when I can get a real one? If I want to get a gold chain, why would I get a fake one when I can get the real one? Mexicans are copying everything we do. So why would people listen to the folks who's copying when they can just go and get the real thing? Ain't no disrespect. I'm just being real with you. Everybody knows that Mexicans are studying Black culture. They study the way we talk. They study the way we dress. They study the way we rap. And they try their best to copy that. They try their best to replicate that. Everybody with common sense knows that. So if that's the case, why not just listen to the people that Mexicans are trying to copy? I'm just saying, man, like, make it make sense.
Certain rappers that may have made it, and then they get disrespectful, like Fat Joe, right? Fat Joe, you know, because he rode the coattails of a whole lot of other people too. I mean, I believe for sure Big Pun was the one with the talent. It wasn't really Fat Joe, it was Big Pun, right? And unfortunately, you know, Big Pun passed away. But we've never heard no Big Pun saying the N-word or nothing in any of his albums at all. We never heard any of that. But Fat Joe got extremely disrespectful, talking about Latinos and Black people created hip hop 50-50, which, you know, that's a freaking lie. And Fat Joe literally messed off all of the little credibility he did have. He messed it off with participating in a lie. Now, the question I have for them, why would you think that would be okay as a collective to say a word that's not even from your culture? Because he rarely admits and he acknowledges that that's not even a word that's from our culture. He's right. They have their own words. They have their own sayings. They have their own slang. He talked about his culture. They like their culture. Okay.
Okay. And if Mexicans like their culture so much, how come they don't make music that comes from their culture? I can't say that I love Black culture, but I'm making music that comes from Mexican culture. That sounds crazy. You don't even believe in what you're saying. If Mexican culture was so great, you would make music coming from that culture. You wouldn't complain about not being accepted in Black culture if you took pride in making music from your own culture. You don't see Black people making music from other folks' culture. We don't make music coming from anybody else's culture except ours. So you sound silly when you say we got a dope culture. We love our. Why you don't make music that comes from the culture you claim to love so much? But you want to make music coming from Black culture. Seems like you love Black culture more than Mexican Chicano culture, if we're being honest.
I have no issue with you liking your culture. You should like your culture. But why are you going to say words that come from our issue with you liking your culture? You should. He talked about his culture. They like their culture. Okay. And I have no issue with you liking your culture. You should like your culture. But why are you going to say words that come from our culture? Why? And then when Black people from the culture is telling y'all, don't say that, I'm going to say it anyway. When he mentioned about Mexican OT, I'm going to say it anyway. Well, I'm around these Black people and they don't mind me saying it. Yeah, but the collective of Black people mind.
Said we do. And show me young Mexicans who make listen. You don't make music that comes from your culture. The majority of young Mexicans want to be rappers, want to be hip hop. They don't want to be corrido singers. You idiot. You moron. Mexican Americans want to be accepted in hip hop because Mexican Americans are influenced by hip hop, which is Black culture. The majority of them. The majority of young Mexicans ain't trying to make corridos. The overwhelming majority of Mexican Americans want to make hip hop. They want to be rappers. You sound dumb.
The collective of Black people mind, you shouldn't say it. Like me, I don't have no desire to say any kind of slur about any other group of people. Why? Because I believe I know the English language enough where I can talk in a way where I don't have to call anybody racial slurs or any kind of slur. I don't have to do that. I don't. I think they're lazy. If you always got to say some slur to somebody, it's unoriginal. It has no thought to it, right? But my question to them is, why you want to be a Kendrick Lamar? Y'all have so many different variations of music. Y'all have Tejano music. You have merengue. You have bachata. You have salsa. You have so many different cumbia, so many different styles of Latin music. Why don't these folks want to be in the greatest in that field? Now,
this is the truth. They don't want to do music from their own culture for the most part. Young Mexicans want to be rappers because they're so influenced by Black culture. So they try their best to replicate and imitate Black culture, right? But see, think about it as foundational Black Americans. We are the trendsetters. We are the culture. As FBA, foundational Black Americans, we are the trendsetters. We are the culture. Everybody else follows. If FBA stopped making rap today and made another music genre, everybody would copy that. Everybody would follow that. FBA, we can make a whole nother music genre tomorrow and the whole world would follow because we have that much influence. We are that dope as people. People across the world are influenced by our music. My thing is this. Mexican music don't influence the world. They might have their fan base of people who might listen to Spanish music, but Latino music has never influenced urban culture in America. It don't have that type of appeal. Foundational Black Americans, on the other hand, look at the oldies, James Brown, the Isley Brothers, funk music, you know what I mean? You think about George Clinton. You think about Motown, the oldies, Marvin Gaye, foundational Black Americans, we are musically gifted. We are gifted when it comes to music. The music we make, the whole world loves it. The whole world is influenced by the music we make as foundational Black Americans. I got to be real with you. These other races don't have the same talent. They don't have our spirit. They don't have our soul. So the music that comes from their culture don't move people the way that our music moves people across the world. That's just the reality. And I don't care who gets mad. The music that we make as foundational Black Americans touches people's souls. We are that gifted as people. Everybody wants to imitate. Everybody wants to copy what we do because we are that great. Foundational Black Americans, we've never copied music that comes from other people's cultures. We're too damn busy making music that comes from our culture. We are that great. We are that dope. Oh, he's arrogant. He's cocky. No, I'm telling the truth.
I'm not saying people from other communities can't participate in hip hop. That's not what I'm saying. As long as you respect the culture and respect the people, the fathers and mothers of hip hop, as long as you respect us, you're fine. But the problem is you came in saying things to be disrespectful. Let's look at Eminem.
You keep talking dumb, I'm gonna boot you out of here. Now, how am I not using logic? Let me show you how much of an idiot this troll is. I'm gonna give this troll some smoke today. Real talk said I'm not even using logic. Listen, the OG Mexican Chicanos, what music they listen to? The oldies, the R&B. So what do you mean I don't know what I'm talking about? I'm not using logic. The essays back in the 80s and 90s listen to the oldies. Who created the oldies? Black folks. Who created jazz? Black folks. Who created the blues? Black folks. From the oldies to hip hop, we created that music. The point is that everybody's always been influenced by our music, mainly a lot of Mexicans. So you got an idiot in the comment section saying I'm not using logic when we know Mexicans have always been influenced by our music. The the cholos back in the day listened to oldies and hip hop. They've always listened to music that Black folks made, that Black folks created. But you got a bozo saying that I'm not using logic when I just gave you historical facts. Straight idiot. I can prove everything I'm saying. I can show you essays from the 70s and 80s listening to oldies, jamming the oldies, music made by foundational Black Americans, you fool. Fast forward to the 90s. Mexicans listening to rap, Mexicans trying to rap, music created by foundational Black Americans, but I'm not making sense. I'm not using logic. This dude is an idiot. Straight idiot.
Pop, as long as you respect us, you're fine. But the problem is you came in saying things and being disrespectful. Let's look at Eminem. Eminem, in none of his music, said the N-word. He didn't say it. Do you think if he was saying the N-word constantly, Dr. Dre and 50 would have been messing with him? No. It wouldn't have been for 50 and Dre, Eminem wouldn't have had the career he had. It don't matter how talented Eminem was if he was saying the N-word, because first, he wouldn't have got away with it not one time. That's the bottom line. That's number one. But Eminem is respected in hip hop. Eminem never came and said, well, you know, us white folks created hip hop 50-50. He never did anything like that. So people can say, oh man, yeah, I'm gonna listen to Eminem. Let me check out his new album or whatever. And Eminem rapped his own way, his own style. And we was all cool with that. So it's not that guests can't come into hip hop. It's just you just have to be respectful. That's it. Hey, a lot of y'all went by it wasn't respect. It was disrespect. Then that not even only talking about some of the racism. How you want to get in our culture, but some of you don't like Black Americans.
Right. You want to get in our culture, but a lot of Mexicans don't like Black people, but they want to get in our culture. They want to make our music. They want to make money off of our music. They want to make money off of our culture. But a large percentage of them don't even like us.
That's how you want to get in our culture, but some of you don't like Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? I would not want to get involved in the genre of music and the people. I got an issue with the people. I'm partaking in their culture. That's silly to me. I don't want to partake in any culture if I don't like them. That's dumb. Now you said that Mexican OT didn't say the N-word after the controversy, but if he was really around some smart Black people, he would have never said it at all. And so if he messed off his career, he messed it off with his mouth. The first time he got told, he should say, you know what, I apologize for that. He said, the friends I'm around, they cool with me doing that, but hey, if it's offensive, I completely apologize. I'm not doing that no more. It's not going to my songs, not whatever. And he stuck to it. But no, when you doubling and tripling now, you going to say it like Fat Joe? Black America going to show you a lot more than they going to tell you. It's a new day. We're gatekeeping the culture. And what we say go with our genres of music, period. So
it's our music. What we say goes. It don't matter if somebody white owns a record company. White people are not the culture. White people have the money, so they finance a lot of this stuff. But the culture and the music comes from foundational Black Americans, not white folks. White people are the ones with the money, so they own a lot of these companies. Just like white folks run this country. But when it comes to the music, when you think about all these music genres, it comes from Black folks. Look at reggaeton. Reggaeton comes from reggae. Where does reggae come from? I played a video with Jamaicans in Jamaica saying that they were influenced by Black Americans and they created reggae from listening to R&B, jazz, and all the music that we were making. So reggae comes from the music that Black Americans were making. Reggaeton is reggaeton ain't nothing but an imitation of reggae. So when you think about the music that Latinos make, it all comes from Black people. Reggaeton literally comes from reggae. Reggae comes from the music that FBA was making. I showed the video several times where the Jamaicans in Jamaica said before they created reggae, they was influenced by the music foundational Black Americans was making in America, and they created reggae from listening to the music we was making as foundational Black Americans. So all of this music traces back to us, FBA. We are the culture. We are the trendsetters. Everybody else follows. Everybody else steals everything that we do. Study history. I'm not making this up.
You know, I mean, like I said, they can do their thing. But you now say it like Fat Joe, Black America gonna show you a lot more than they gonna tell you. It's a new day. We're gatekeeping the culture. And what we say go with our genres of music, period. So you know, I mean, like I said, they can do their thing, but you gotta come through us to get to hip hop. We gotta co-sign you, and if we don't co-sign you, well, you're just gonna stay in the chitlin circuit, you know, in your community, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. And it's not the beats you're getting or whatever. It's just you don't have the culture like we do. And that's a part of hip hop. It's not just giving a chance, it's having the culture. But y'all let me know what y'all think about what he's saying. Like I said, well, before I wrap up,
the point is this: black people don't listen to corridos. We don't listen to that. Black folks, we've never been influenced by music that Latinos make. We never listened to music that Puerto Ricans made. We never listened to music that Mexicans made. We have our own culture. We have our own music as foundational Black Americans. We never listened to Latino music. We've never been influenced by Latino music. We're not saying that corridos don't sell. What we are saying is corridos does not influence American culture. It does not. Most Mexicans don't even want to make corridos music. Most Mexican Americans want to be rappers. They want to be in hip hop. They don't want to make that music. And Black Americans sure don't listen to that. We've never listened to music that was made by Mexicans. We just never done that. Anyway.
Remember what he said. He said that when it's saying the N-word in music, it turns more Mexicans off. No, it turns off Black people. Listen, anytime y'all say it, it's offensive. I don't care if you got a Black friend or two that don't care you say it. They silly. I'm telling you, the consensus of Black Americans, don't say it. Just don't say it. Just keep it out your mouth. Keep it out your mouth. And you good. Don't call each other that, because that's not who y'all are. Y'all got so many different words that y'all say. Call each other the words of your community. Don't be disrespectful. And you.
Well, they're so influenced by us that they dress like us, they talk like us, they use our slang, they make our music. Because think about it, man. We're so powerful, we have so much influence that they can't help but to copy what we do. Because we are that great, we are that dope. Right? If you look at Mexicans in Southern California, they don't even want to be cholos no more. They threw the young Mexicans have threw cholo culture in the garbage. They threw cholo culture in a trash can. They want to look Black. They want to talk Black. They want to sound Black. They want to rap like Black people. They want to talk like Black people. Young Mexicans are influenced by Black culture. They threw cholo culture away a long time ago. Why? Because they want to be rappers and they understand that cholos have no place in hip hop. Young Mexicans know for a fact that they won't be taken serious in hip hop looking and sounding like cholos. So they threw that culture away a long time ago. I'm just giving you the facts. Don't get mad at the messenger. Get mad at the people who threw the culture away. Oh, I don't like the fact that Red said that. Well, get mad at the people who threw the culture away. Black people didn't throw cholo culture away. Mexicans, young Mexicans threw cholo culture in the garbage. They don't want nothing to do with it. They want to be hip hop. They want to look Black. They want to sound Black. Because they know if they want to be young Mexicans know if they want to be embracing hip hop, they can't be cholos, because nobody want to listen to cholo rap. They know that. So they said, we got to sound more Black. We got to talk more Black. We got to have a Black image to be embraced in hip hop. We got to look, talk, and sound like Black people if we want to be successful in that culture. So cholo culture, they threw it away.
And you straight. You are straight. You good. It's trust me, you are straight. Y'all can keep podcasting about it, but we run the yard. Our community, our rules.
Our community, our rules. This fool Charleston finna say some crazy stuff. I can't rock with that. This fool Charleston finna say some crazy stuff. I'm like, nah, you can't have that, man. Oh man, no, man.
I'm trying to justify, but shit, y'all just got dropped off before us. That's all it is.
Y'all got dropped off first.
Make sure that you guys bless the Cash App, $Red1803. Support the show, because we coming with the hot topics, dope conversations.
We from the same boat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is this where we're at, mi gente?
Rewriting history like the colonizer? Homie sounds like he arrived on La Niña La Pinta La Santa Maria. This is Deculturation, a broke brown face tired of hearing the same bland analysis from these rich white leftists. So let's dissect the vendidos, the sellouts, and the compradors. We're going to be discussing Latinos and the usage of the N-word through Lefty Gunplay, who seems sincere about acknowledging racism in the Latin community, but is unable to hold himself accountable for his internalized anti-blackness. And the Mexican OT, whose arrogant ignorance makes you want to put some spare change on Yolanda's books so next time she could use her skills for good. Let's square up with the truth.
Fool, it's crazy, dog. Like, race is a big thing. Like honestly, me, myself, personally, I'm not going to come home or I'm not going to let my daughter come home with a black dude. I'm going to be like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way it is out here for my people. And like, I'm sure if a black girl came home and with a straight SA dude, they're going to be like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? In LA, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? For me to go and have a baby with a black girl, and you know, and I've never been with a black girl.
I'm not gonna let my daughter come home with a black dude. Now, what does this have to do with Latinos using the N-word? Everything.
So I don't want my daughter coming home with a black man, but I'm copying a black man, I'm rapping like a black man and using black culture. Well, at some point, your daughter is going to want to be like the same people that you are imitating. If you're imitating black people and your daughter knows that, she's going to say, well, why not be with a black man? If my daddy's trying his best to sound like a black man, my dad is making music that comes from their culture. I mean, make it make sense. So he just told you. So Mexicans don't want their daughters dating us, but it's okay for them to copy our culture. It's okay for them to make music that comes from our culture. It's okay for them to make money off of our culture, but you better not be dating their daughter. We can make money off your culture, but you better not date our Mexican daughters.
Ignorance makes you want to put some spare change on Yolanda's books so next time she could use her skills for good. Let's square up with the truth.
Fool, it's crazy, dog. Like, race is a big thing. Like honestly, me, myself, personally.
Now, shout out to Lefty Gunplay for being honest, because we already know that Mexicans in Los Angeles are very racist towards blacks. It's a part of their culture, not just Mexicans. It's in Latino culture in general. Anti-black racism runs deep in Latin culture, period, not just Mexicans. But at least Lefty was honest about that. I'll make money off of black culture, but you don't date. I don't want you dating my Mexican daughter, but I want to make money off of black culture. Yeah.
I'm not going to come home or I'm not going to let my daughter come home with a black dude. I'm going to be like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way it is out here for my people. And like, I'm sure if a black girl came home and with a straight SA dude, they're going to be like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? In LA, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? For me to go and have a baby with a black girl, and you know, and I've never been with a black girl.
I'm not gonna let my daughter come home with a black dude. Now, what does this have to do with Latinos using the N-word? Everything. Because Latinos want access to black culture, but don't want to allow black people into our culture, much less our families. Lefty, despite admitting that he's never dated a black woman, claims that her family would have an issue with her arriving with a straight essay. Yes, Lefty, any family would have a problem with their daughter dating a gangbanger. Notice, Lefty did not say Latino dude, brown dude. No. He said a straight essay. No one would have a greater issue with this than a Latin family. This is what most parents are trying to avoid their daughter dating and getting involved in, the gang culture. Yet Lefty said black dude. Nothing about his character, solely focusing on his blackness. And this is the sentiment of the larger Latin community. But let's hear his rationale / apology. I'm sure it couldn't highlight how entrenched this anti-black mentality is in the Latin community.
I don't. Because you know what? You're getting me there because I feel like I'm white. I never did. Right. I'm gonna say like I'm not tripping. I was raised Spanish. Hablo español con mi abuelita, mi mamá. Así me enseñaron. My dad never raised me. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm the skin color of my mom and my grandma. I would want her to be with somebody, don't try to twist me up. I would want her to be with somebody from my skin color, just as well as I'm pretty sure a lot of blacks would want their daughter to be with a black man. I would want my daughter to be with a Hispanic dude like me, you know what I'm saying? But if she's happy with that dude, then she's happy, and I support it. Shout out to the blacks, shout out to the Asians, shout out to the whites, shout out to the purple people, red people.
So what he's saying, I get what he's saying, but it's like, if you're copying a culture, if you're copying somebody else's culture, then maybe your daughter might want to be with a man that comes from the culture that you are copying. You're imitating black people. So of course your daughter is going to be attracted to the same people that you're imitating. If I was acting like a Mexican, why would I be shocked that my daughter wants to be with a Mexican? Let me repeat that so it can marinate on your mind and really soak in. If I was acting like a Mexican, why would I be surprised that my daughter wants to be like a Mexican when her dad is acting like one? Why would a Mexican be surprised that his daughter wants to be with a black man when you, as a Mexican, you're pretending to be a black man? You're rapping like a black man. You're dressing like them. You're using their slang. You're making music from black culture. So at some point, your daughter might want to be with a black man because her daddy is copying a black man.
People, you know what I'm saying? But I would want her first preference to be with a man that look like me. You know what I'm saying? Because why not? I just want to keep my bloodline the same. And I went through this, man. You're bringing it back up, but nah, man. Everybody already embraced me. Like, am I wrong for saying that? But if she was happy with a black dude, I'm embracing. Come here, come on, don't trip. You make my baby girl happy. The family.
Shout out to Active Chucks, man. Active Chucks is from the land, so he know what it is. Shout out to my dog, Active Chucks, man. We might have to put something together, man, because man, yeah, man, Southsiders and Serranos are loose allies with white supremacists and Peckerwoods in prison. So they claim that they want black and brown, but when they go to prison, they align themselves with white supremacists and white Peckerwoods. And we know that they have a lot of racists. Listen, homie, I'm from LA, man. I'm from LA, Los Angeles, the city. Homie, I grew up on Jefferson, Normandy, Western. You know what I mean? My grandmother stayed right there on Normandy and Jefferson. You got the 20s on this side, and you got the Fruittown Brims right on the other side of Jefferson. I got relatives from Harlem, but I grew up on the other side. You know what it is. So I know what it is. Southsiders have anti-black politics. They go to prison and they can't share anything with blacks, but they can share goods with white supremacists and Peckerwoods. And white supremacists and Peckerwoods don't even live in the same communities that blacks and browns live in, but they go to prison and link up with the same people that's deporting them. Southsiders go to prison and they link up and they have a loose alliance with the same people who are now deporting them and sending them back home. But they claim this black and brown. And listen, the black and brown thing ain't real. They only say black and brown because they want to leech off of our culture. They want to make money off of hip hop. Do they really have love for us? Absolutely not. Now, you might have some Mexicans that have love for us, but collectively, there's a lot of anti-black racism that comes from their community. I got to call a spade a spade. I'm going to keep it a stack with you.
Don't worry, Lefty. We're not trying to twist you up, but we are going to break you down. Now, Lefty is half white, although he doesn't acknowledge his whiteness. But he's
Lefty daddy is a white. You notice that Lefty talks about his white father? You notice that Lefty Gunplay never talks about his white father. His mother is Guatemalan and his daddy is a white man. He ain't Mexican. And then listen, I'm not trying to throw shots at Lefty, but I got to call a spade a spade. Lefty daddy is a white man.
Talking about keeping his bloodline pure. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty white to me. I mean, he sounds like a Spaniard trying to justify the casta system. If you're actively avoiding including black people in your family, then you're in pursuit of blancamiento. And the whiteness continues by hiding behind colorblindness, shouting out the blue and purple people. Oh, but don't worry, it's not racial. He just wants his daughter to date a Hispanic dude. Lefty, Hispanics can be black, but this highlights the erasure of black people and blackness within the Hispanic/Latin community. Now, I titled this video Latinos and the N-word. And for most of us, the majority of us, when we hear the word Latino, we think of brown people, excluding black people from our community, and yet Lefty is half white. Barely beige, talking about skin color. Oh, it's like my abuelitas, it's like my mom's. Bro, that means they weren't brown year-round either. Because here's the thing. Lefty's other half is from Guatemala. Be honest now, you thought he was Mexican. And that's the smoking gun. We don't hear Lefty wishing that his daughter ends up with a Guatemalteco. No. He says Latino. He says brown skin like me. In other words, just not a black man. Doesn't matter whether he's also Central American or Latino. It's never about cultura. If it were, it would include Afro-Latinos. It's about anti-blackness. It's about pursuit of blancamiento. It's about mejorando la raza. To distance yourself from blackness, including indigenous people. And
right, it's a part of their culture, man. Like if you look up, if you study Latino culture, when they say that, they want to distance themselves from black people. And it makes perfect sense why. And let me tell you something about California politics. You might say, well, the Northerners have an alliance with blacks. Well, the Northerners had no choice to form an alliance with blacks because the Southsiders was tearing their ass up in these California prisons. So it made sense for the Mexicans in Northern California to form an alliance with the blacks because the Southsiders were pretty much tearing their ass up. You know what I'm saying? Like giving them the business. Northerners are outnumbered by Southerners. The Sureños outnumber the Norteños by large numbers. So people form alliances out of survival. It's not even because they necessarily like you. Like when blacks had a large population in the 70s and the 80s, Southern California Mexicans formed an alliance with white boys and skinheads because blacks was terrorizing everybody at one particular time. So it made sense for the white boys and the Southern California Mexicans to link up because blacks was terrorizing. You know, blacks can be bullies sometimes. I got to admit, we can be bullies at certain, we can be bullies at certain times. I admit that. But it wasn't nothing racial because you had blacks bullying other blacks. You had blacks that was just bullying everybody. That's just what it was. So they linked up with the Aryan brothers. The Southern Cali Mexicans linked up with the Aryan brothers, white supremacists. They formed an alliance because they both had a hatred for black people, so it made sense.
Sure, he wraps it up by saying, well, if the black dude were to treat my daughter well, make her happy, I guess it is what it is. He's family. I'll accept it. That's where we're at, mi gente. Where we're saying we'll tolerate this interracial couple as part of my family. Wow. We are so far behind that it's pathetic.
Blacks fuck with me and they respect me because I'm not using the N-word. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be using that word anyways, period. That word, if you don't know what it means, it's a negative word towards black people. I got no right using that word. You know what I'm saying? Like that's out. So yeah, and I wouldn't want a black dude saying ese, vato in every song. Aina, serio. I'd be like, what the fuck? What's up with this fool? So it makes it like that, and it's good because it puts you on your game, on your P's and Q's, on what's right and what's wrong, and that's wrong for a Mexican to say that. But then again, some homies grew up around that type of environment and went to school with black people. To each is his own. But for me, I don't do that. And the racist problem in LA, yeah, it's for real. It really is like that.
Just real quick, Lefty was about to say derogatory. It's a difficult word for us to pronounce, and I'll be honest, I had to practice it a few times for this video. Now, I want to start with Lefty because I truly believe he's being sincere in trying to acknowledge racism within the Latin community. But he is misguided, confused, and just plain wrong. This isn't trying to excuse his behavior or mentality. This is trying to acknowledge the fact that, well, some people might try to improve the conditions of their community in regards to anti-blackness, but lack the capacity or understanding to do so. It's great that Lefty, even with his background, understands that Latinos should not be using the N-word. But then he goes on to compare it in such a way that is ridiculous and we have to knock down. He goes on to compare Latinos using the N-word to black artists using ese, serio, jaina.
The only black people who talk like that are black people who join Mexican gangs. You got Mexicans from Mexican gangs who talk like black people, and they don't even live around black people. That's how powerful our culture is. You don't see black people running around saying, "What up, Ese? What up, Vato?" The only ones you see saying that are the black guys from Mexican gangs. And even the black dudes from Mexican gangs don't even talk like that no more, because Mexicans from Mexican gangs now talk like black people. Mexicans from Mexican gangs and in places where you don't even have black people still use black slang, still talk like black people. So you're not going to see it. It's not going to happen. Now, black dudes who joined Mexican gangs in the 90s, you probably heard some of them saying, "What up, Vato? What up, Holmes?" But that's a small percentage of the population. The majority of black people are proud to be black, and that's what it is. But see, the difference with that is you're going to see Mexicans from Mexican gangs acting like black people. There's a Mexican gang in Compton called Tortilla Flats, and they're known for their racism towards blacks. But when you look at their young members, the young members of Tortilla Flats today, they the A homie on the dead set. Whoop, whoop. Blood say whoop, whoop. The whoop comes from Bloods. That's blood lingo. On the dead homies, whoop and all this. On the set, dead homies. That's how these young Mexicans talk. They talk just like black people. So you got Mexicans from racist gangs. The Tortilla Flats got a long history of being racist towards black people. But guess what? Their young members dress, talk, and act just like black people. But they OG homies were very racist towards blacks. We got so much influence that Mexicans from racist Mexican gangs even copy black people. That's how lit we are. They big homies was racist as hell in the 90s and the early 2000s. The new generation of Tortilla Flats talk like blacks. They dress like us. Everything about them says black. But we all know that the Tortilla Flats, if you study the history of that gang, they are very racist towards blacks. It's crazy.
Vato. There is no reason for black artists not to be able to use those words, with the obvious exception of Haina because it's a misogynist term. But if you're adopting so much of black culture, what would be wrong with them using some slangs? Nothing at all. They're not using any form of racially intense language. Notice that he said ese vato serio and not spick, wetbag, and beaner. There's a clear distinction, and even those words would apply to some Afro-Latinos, so they would be able to use them. Now, he gives his homies the excuse to use the N-word because, oh, they grew up in that environment, they know some black people. Nah, if you, as a Latino, are saying, I have no right to use that word, what allows your homies to use it? Mind you, if you're in a shared space and black people are given the pass, that's another conversation. However, here we're talking about within brown spaces alone. Why are you okay with that? You have to check it, especially when black people aren't around, in order to prevent anti-blackness. Fools get way too comfortable and try and test what you're willing to tolerate. If you truly believe that—
make sure that you guys bless the like button. If you got love for this content, drop something on the super chat, drop something on the cash app. We almost got 400 people watching. Let's get some contributors and supporters. I know we got a lot of trolls watching, but where are my contributors and supporters?
that we shouldn't be using that word anyways, period, then why not take it upon yourself to educate the homies on why that is? We have to stop making excuses for anti-blackness, and we have to stop being lazy in our responsibility to combat it. If you are aware that there is anti-black racism within the Latin community, then it is your responsibility not only to address it, but to combat it every step of the way. We cannot allow this to continue festering. It is a normalization of racism.
You can say the N-word?
I feel like I can't say it, but not because of that, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Shout out to Plant Base, man. Plant Base always showing love. Plant Base said, per character looking at himself in the mirror saying, "Thanks for being you," with hearts popping out of his eyes. Shout out to Plant Base for showing love on the super chat.
I wish there was some black dudes in here.
There are. Will is right there. And this one right here. No.
Okay, well, we're gonna use him.
Okay, that's my manager. Hey,
because me
Will.
and Fee know what's up.
Will, you're black. Okay.
What the fuck are you gonna do about it, you know? And then second of all, I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting.
You cussing too much now. He said, what are you gonna do about it? Now, basically, he's saying I'm a I'm make rap music coming from black culture, and I'm gonna say the N word, and what are you gonna do about it? That's disrespectful. Man, OT Mexican is a short, fat guy. He would get hands put on him. He's a pudgy, short, fat guy. He's not in shape. Seriously. So what he's saying is, I'm gonna make money off of your culture and use the N-word. What are you gonna do about it? How disrespectful is that? This is why we got to gatekeep our culture, to get rid of people like him. To get rid of people like him. Yeah, I'm gonna use black culture. Yeah, I'm gonna say the N-word, and what are you gonna do about it? You're saying this in a room full of females. You're saying this in a room full of goofy black females. Let's continue. Now, this dude is from Texas. You know, people try to talk about California. He ain't from Cali. This Mexican dude right here is from Texas. So I expect the brothers from Texas to check him for saying his nonsense. Like, hold on, homeboy. You in our culture. You're not going to be disrespectful towards us making music that comes from our culture. We ain't going to tolerate that disrespect.
Racism.
You can say the N-word?
I feel like I can't say it, but not because of that. And I'm going to tell you why. I wish there was some black dudes in here.
There are. Will right there. And this one right here. No.
Okay, well, we're going to use him.
Okay, that's my manager. Hey,
because
Will.
me and Fee know what's up.
Will, you're black? I'm playing.
What the fuck are you going to do about it, you know? And then second of all, I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting with them. I grew up eating with them. I grew up fucking doing bad shit with them. I grew up loving with them. You know, I got family. And it's not even about family. Even if I wasn't related to nobody, I'm black. I mean, well, shit, it's what the fuck I was surrounded by.
So, okay, he said, I grew up with black people. I feel like I'm a part of the culture. But what you said sounds very disrespectful. So if you grew up with black people and you love black people, why would you say something disrespectful like that? And you know how we're going to take that. Growing up with us don't give you the, listen, just because you grew up with us, that don't give you the pass to disrespect us in our culture. We ain't going to tolerate that, homeboy. We ain't going to tolerate it. I don't care how many black people you grew up with. We're not going to give you a pass for disrespecting us in our culture. You're making money off of our culture. You're making money off of music that was created by our people. But you want to disrespect us and say, I'm going to use the N-word regardless, and I'm going to say it, and who going to do something about it? Man, this fool is crazy.
You know, like, I respect people that they feel that way. I try to shut the fuck up about it.
Right.
But if you're from where I'm from, or anywhere, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? You know, it's like I don't went to the jungle and earned the lion's head. You know, and I'll dominate anywhere. And
so you ain't gonna dominate anywhere, bro. You ain't gonna dominate anywhere. Let me tell you something. This is a short, pudgy, fat guy who's talking greasy, talking about he can use the N-word, and when it comes to people from his region, what are they gonna do about it? Now, if you grew up with black people and you say you cool with black people, the black people that you grew up with should be checking you right now. Because you're making the black people that you grew up with, you're making them look bad. You're making those black folks in Texas that you grew up with, you're making them look bad. Because you're disrespecting black folks, but you saying all this, right? At some point, blacks outside of Texas are going to say, well, hold on. He cool with blacks, but y'all let him talk like that? He gonna disrespect the culture, but he claims to be cool with blacks at the same time. Man, this is crazy. And you wonder why it's important to gatekeep your culture. Foundational Black Americans, man. If you ain't recognized the game by now, then you never will. This is why I'm telling you why it's so important to gatekeep your culture, because you get people like this. They want to make money off of the culture while being disrespectful at the same time. This is why we are now gatekeeping our culture, gatekeeping everything that we create for reasons like this.
I'm not just fucking whooping ass because I've taken some ass whoopings. But you will respect me the same way I respect you. I'm trying to justify, but shit, y'all just got dropped off before us. That's all it is.
Y'all got dropped off first.
We from the same boat.
I wish.
And listen to the goofy females. They goofy. They don't know no better. They sitting up there giggling, tolerating the disrespect. Bunch of goofy bras up there, bruh.
There were some black dudes in here. The Mexican OT is immediately forced to awkwardly demonstrate how ridiculous his position is. In a room full of black women, he desperately seeks a black man to use as a prop, literally saying, we're going to use him to appear tough that chingon persona. Like a broken record, he mentions every activity he's done with a black person. Hell, he even has black family members. Yet, strangely enough, this doesn't make him black. Damn. In that case, why not just call yourself, instead of the Mexican OT, the N-word OT? Go all out. You're correct, aren't you? But don't worry, he respects people that don't like him using the N-word. Apparently, that respect means that you're gonna have to fight him respectfully. Now, he doubles down on the call for violence, and I'd like to take this moment to address some of the criticism that Angela Yee and her co-host have faced. Mainly that they didn't check the Mexican OT, but here's the thing. He literally threatened violence. I mean, he didn't say the words outright, but come on, we all.
He said, "What are you gonna do about it?" Basically, he said that you can't stop me from using the N-word. I'm gonna make money off rap music, and I'm gonna continue to use the N-word. But you claim to be cool with black people. How disrespectful is that?
Understood what he meant. He doubles down later on in saying that he's not kicking ass everywhere. He's taking a few lickings, but he'll scrap. He threatened violence against anyone that would check him for using the N-word. So what were these women supposed to do? End the interview? Sure, but they already knew that he used the N-word, so maybe they shouldn't have platform at all. In fact, I don't think anyone should be platforming him if this is his staunch position. I want to focus.
A lot of people are cultural vampires, and shout out to you for pointing that out. Black Masculine One said they want to come around us and dominate us. My question is why? They always trying to get our attention. They're vampires and cultural vampires. See, at this point, man, this is culture vulturing. This is culture vulturing. That's what it is. You're saying that anyway. I think you guys get the picture.
On the Latin community, on brown people. But I will say this, please, to the black community, gatekeep more. Make us earn the right to be in your spaces, to be platformed by you, especially as you deal with all these culture vultures. But fundamentally, it's on the brown and Latin community to make sure that these people don't have a fan base to begin with. So the responsibility of checking these anti-black celebrities that are representing the Latin people is on us. So for me, I'm actually grateful for Angela Yee and her co-host for once again allowing us to see how anti-black the Mexican OT is. It gets worse though. This fool uses the analogy of going into the jungle to earn the right to use the N-word. For him, living among black people was like living in the jungle.
Now, you want to fight to use the N-word. I'm going to fight to use the N-word. You want to be black so bad, or you want to use black culture to make money. Why would I fight to use a word that doesn't come from my culture, that doesn't come from my people? Why would I fight to use a word like that? Oh, because you want to sound cool. You want to take on everything from black culture so that you can get paid for financial gain. You want to get paid making music from our culture, but you want to be disrespectful at the same time. And you wonder why we are now gatekeeping our culture because of disrespect like this.
And you expect me to believe he's not anti-black. And he's still shameless enough to say, you will respect me the way I respect you. Well, it's clear you don't respect anyone else but yourself. In fact, you don't know what respect is. You know how to threaten people with violence and get your way. And for that, you are a threat to any community that you're in. But if saying he went into the jungle to use the N-word wasn't bad enough, he tries to lay claim to a shared experience within the black and brown community and the transatlantic slave trade. Saying black and brown people are from the same boat, just that black people were dropped off first. All for what end? To use the N-word? You sound like a conquistador trying to rewrite history, homie.
He sound like a conquistador trying to rewrite history. And you gotta have like this dude right here is a Mexican, but he's being real. I can respect him for his realness. You know, I got a lot of respect for him because he's keeping it a stack. He's calling out his people for their anti-black racism while using a culture at the same time to make money, while using our culture for financial gain. Shout out to him for pointing that out, because I've been talking about this for a long time. Let's use black culture for financial gain, but at the same time, we have hatred and animosity towards them. We want to use them for their culture. We want to use their culture for financial gain. That's what a lot of Latinos been doing.
People are from the same boat, just that black people were dropped off first. All for what end? To use the N-word? You sound like a conquistador trying to rewrite history. Homie, it sounds like you arrived on La Niña, La Pinta, y La Santa Maria. You're threatening violence to acquire what is not yours. This is nothing new from the Mexican OT. Members of the brown community in media have gone out of their way to help protect him from criticism of his usage of the N-word.
For whatever reason, I think sometimes certain audiences in certain areas that aren't culturally like us judge us. And I think when I say that, and I think you know where I'm going with this, is I feel a lot of people, specifically West Coast people, no offense to West Coast, I got love for you guys, I feel like they judge a lot of the Texans. The reason I say that is because I think that when they see Mexicans use the N-word,
it's a culture thing.
Like, that's endearment to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's my guy. That's
we all brown, you know.
But when we use it in our music, because that's one thing I noticed about your TikTok, right? Whenever I was seeing it go, it's like people really wanted to pinpoint that. What's your position on that? You know, because I feel like it's only like, it's not just, you know, I don't want to pinpoint Cali, right? But you know, like the real prideful motherfuckers that are like,
I dig it. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
But he's using the N-word and he's acting like he's black. Why? You know, to them you say what? Like, I mean, you mentioned culture.
I'd be like, what the fuck does black act like?
Exactly.
You tell me what a color act like.
For sure.
Stupid fuck.
Let me show you how stupid he is. He said, what's acting black? That's like me saying, what's acting Mexican? That's disrespectful. What he's saying is there's no such thing as acting black, as if black people don't have a culture. If I said there's no such thing as acting Mexican, that's me. I'll be disrespecting Chicano or Tejano culture if I said that. Tejano ain't nothing but, Tejano means a Mexican from Texas. Chicano means a Mexican from California. Just here to educate y'all, to put y'all up on game, to bring you up to speed. Indeed, giving you what you need. Dropping game on this podcast. You dig. It is what it is. But check game, though. Microphone check. Hey, I've heard a lot of Mexicans say that there's no such thing as acting black. What do you mean there's no such thing as acting black? We got our own slang. We got our own culture. We got our own music. So for him to fix his mouth and say, what is acting black? Man, you sound dumb. There is a such thing as acting black. As black people, we pronounce our words a certain way. We dress a certain way. We make a certain type of music. Listen, when you think about the way that we dress, when you think about our slang, our music, that is all culture. The way you dress, your music, your slang, that's culture. He said there's no such thing as acting black, while acting black and doing everything that blacks do, making music that comes from black culture. But this idiot said there's no such thing as acting black. Now, how dumb does he really sound?
You know what? I agree with you 100% because again, like I think that some people don't get that.
Yeah.
And
like shit, we just natives, baby. You know what I'm saying? We from the south side.
No, this is how I know you're dumb too. The dude that's interviewing you is dumb. There is a such thing as acting black. Just like there's a such thing as acting Mexican. There's a such thing as acting Asian. We have culture, fool. Anytime you see a Mexican, or not just a Mexican, anybody saying there's no such thing as acting black, they're disrespecting our culture while copying the culture at the same time for financial gain, for profit. I'm calling it out, homie. I'm gonna call it out every time I see it.
We feel like culture. It's just a culture thing, you know. I feel like it's the best way I can put it.
For sure, man, and I agree with you. You know, just so you know, but that's something that I felt like sometimes artists get a bad rap, and you being a young cat coming in the game and really starting to make a name for yourself. Like, I don't want that shit to like, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, my music demands respect and it demands your attention. So whether you like it or not, it's gonna be played and it's gonna be shown, it's gonna be known.
Well, it's not only that, but I think, you know, going back to the Selena movie, you know, they always go, you got to be American enough for the Mexicans, or whatever. It's like you always, there's this like almost like a battle with how Mexican are you to the Mexicans? Like, you're never Mexican enough. Just trust me, like I deal with that within my own family.
Let's recognize that black people's thoughts on the Mexican OT and brown people using the N-word aren't censored in this interview at all. The interviewer goes out of his way to say no offense to the West Coast, generally speaking, but never bothers to specifically address black people. In fact, according to the Mexican OT, we're all brown. Forget the races.
Negro is a race. When you say black, you're talking about somebody who's a Negro. That's what you're talking about. Somebody who's a Negro when you say black. You know, when you say Caucasian, you're talking about a white person. When you talk about Negro, you're talking about a black person. So it is a race. Now, Latino is not a race. Mexican is not a race, but a Negro is a race. You got Mongoloid, Caucasoid, Negroids. Those are races. When you say Latino, Latino isn't a race because you got black Latinos and you got Latinos are a mixture of different people, but it's not a race. Puerto Rican is not a race. Mexican is not a race. Let's set the record straight.
White Lives Matter, or the sad attempt to hide behind All Lives Matter, because apparently all lives are brown. And nothing is more disgusting than hearing brown people claim that they can use the N-word because mean it as a term of endearment. Go ahead and call them beaners and see how endearing they find that. These people act like if we don't have our own racial slurs that we can reappropriate. No. We have to take the N-word from black people because culture vultures are never satisfied. Now, this is
culture vultures are never satisfied. Shout out to this Mexican dude for keeping it a stat about the hypocrisy and racism that's coming from his own people. It takes a lot of courage to call your people out for their anti-black racism. It takes a lot of courage for you to call out culture vultures from your own community. Because that's what a lot of them are. They're culture vultures. Let's leech off of black culture to make money. When we know that a lot of Mexicans don't even like black people. They just want to make money off of our culture. They want to make money off of our music. If you claim to love Mexican or Chicano culture so much, how come you're not making music that comes from your own culture? Mexicans want to be just as big as us, or if not bigger than us in our own culture, in our own music, and that's not going to happen. That's like me as a black person doing corridos, but I want to be bigger than the Mexicans, and this is their culture. And I'm saying that Mexicans are holding me back in corridos. That's their culture. Why would they let a black person take over their culture and their music? Corridos. It makes no sense. So why would we, as foundational black Americans, elevate Mexicans in our own culture? It makes no sense. Mexicans, let me tell you, Mexicans, if you guys made music that came from your own culture, you wouldn't have to complain about black people not giving you the props that you feel like you deserve in hip hop.
We have to take the N-word from black people because culture vultures are, they can use the N-word because mean it as a term of endearment. Go ahead and call them beaners and see how endearing they find that. These people act like if we don't have our own racial slurs that we can reappropriate. No. We have to take the N-word from black people because culture vultures are never satisfied. Now, this is the first time that I hear a brown person use the line, well, what does black act like? Honestly, I even wonder if white people in blackface would use this disingenuous line. Because
I've heard a lot of Mexicans say that. Well, there's no such thing as acting black. Yeah, it is. The music you listen to comes from black culture. The slang you use comes from black culture. So to hear them say that there's no such thing as acting black while copying everything that blacks do is disrespectful. I'm going to copy everything that black people do, but I'm going to claim that there's no such thing as acting black.
The point is that you're acting like a caricature of a black person. I mean, this guy said this with a girl in the face, would use this disingenuous line. Because the point is that you're acting like a caricature of a black person. I mean, this guy said this with a girl in his mouth. And the older fool is out here saying, I 100% agree with you. He probably has kids who he's raising to align with this way of thinking. And he's definitely influencing the brown youth around him. And that's why we cannot afford to normalize, accept, or ignore anti-blackness in the Latin community. The usage of the N-word was not brought up for any introspection. It was brought up so that the old fool can comfort the Mexican OT, basically telling
this dude got a grill in his mouth, using black slang, making rap music, hip hop, while saying what's acting black. We all know that This come from our Southerners. This come from black Southerners, the gold grills and all that. That's us. Hip hop, that's us. Gold grills, that's us. This is not Mexican culture. This fool is copying everything that black people do, but there's no such thing as acting black. What a disgrace he is. What a hypocrite he is. I'm going to copy everything that blacks do, but I'm going to say that there's no such thing as acting black. How disrespectful is the Mexican OT? He is very disrespectful.
Him, hey, don't listen to the haters. Don't let them bring you down. And the Mexican OT, in full arrogance, is still demanding people respect him, claiming that people will be forced to hear him say the N-word in his music, whether they like it or not. Now, the saddest part is that the interview wraps this up by crying about his identity issues. Oh, you know how hard it is to not be American enough? Oh, to not be Mexican enough? Just like Selena. He wants us to sympathize with him, but wants to completely ignore the black community. Because apparently, to these brown people, you can't become an American without saying the N-word. Now, in case it wasn't obvious enough, I'm not the biggest fan of Chicano rap or American Latino hip-hop in general. However, I do love rappers from Latino America. That being said, I think Bozo does a great job here at making it all plain.
I know a lot of homies have the excuse, oh, we grew up with blacks. Yes, you know, a lot of people have, you know what I'm saying? They grew up with us too, but you don't see them talking like us or trying to dress like us or trying to take our culture, you know what I'm saying? So I see both.
Well, that's because we have our own culture. You don't see, and I want y'all to hear this again.
Become an American without saying the N-word. Now, in case it wasn't obvious enough, I'm not the biggest fan of Chicano rap or American Latino hip-hop in general. However, I do love rappers from Latino America. That being said, I think Bozo does a great job here at making it all plain.
I know a lot of homies have the excuse, oh, we grew up with blacks. Yes, you know, a lot of people have, you know what I'm saying? They grew up with us too, but you don't see them talking like us or trying to dress like us or trying to take our culture, you know what I'm saying? So I see both sides of it, you know what I mean? I also see the side where it's like, I don't think it's fair to black men and women for other cultures to take something that's so, how do you say it, man? So precious to them and has created so much pain and so many struggles just for exploitation and fun, you know what I mean? Because I take it offensive when people that ain't from like Southern California or California call themselves essays, but they're really Bloods or Crips, and you know what I mean? It's like, nah, my boy, like, I'm an essay, you know what I mean? Like, just because you got Mexican blood doesn't make you an essay, you know what I mean? Just because your genetic construction is with my same DNA doesn't make you an essay. It's a certain person that carries that name and that title, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I guess it just comes with my maturity, dog. Like I think there's lines, you know? I believe in boundaries, you know what I'm saying? I don't think you can just cross and run over every boundary, dog. I think respect is the biggest key to anything, you know? So that's basically my stance on it, you know what I mean? I think it's disrespectful, you feel me?
And there it is.
And there it is, man. There it is. Now, I got another clip that I want, and I think this dude did a good job, man. He did a good job. Shout out to him. He did a great job, man. And I want to show you a video from the Haters World, right? This is a guy named Haters World. He had this black, it's just crazy, man. Oh man, hit the like button, man, if you haven't already. Show some love to the show. We got almost 400 people watching. Man, get the likes up.
Yes.
Try to make it into something that is not, right? But what do I expect? What do I expect from a podcast that's down here trying to crazy, right? I'm disrespecting blacks. That's wild, homie. That is wild, because I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I got a lot of black friends and sound so cliche, but that is wild, because not once did I disrespect anybody. I gave my opinion as a man, right? And somebody has to take it and try to make it into something that is not, right? But what do I expect? What do I expect from a podcast that's down here trying to reach a podcast that's up here? You know, it ain't nothing new. People be adding extras to the titles to clickbait. You know, I do it sometimes, but I don't go that wild, right? But let's go ahead and watch this video. And again, I wasn't going to react to it because people told me they were disrespecting us by calling us out of our name. And I really didn't want to turn it into something that is not. But it's getting to the point where people think we're a punching bag only because we didn't get into the scuffle with Whack 100 because there's some real motherfuckers in this building. And I didn't want it to go somewhere where it was going to be bad for both parties. So I said nothing. But at this point, hey, bro, check it out. At this point, we're at the point in time now where people think it's fun and games to play with us. And we're not taking that shit. So let's go ahead and watch this video and see what he got to say. Now, look.
Now, Whack 100 cussed him out. 100 said, F your hood. I'm going to come up there. I'm going to whoop you. I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to do that. And he said, well, I wasn't going to argue with Whack because I didn't. And I get it. But at the same time, it's like, man, that dude was talking to you crazy. But the hater world said, hey, man, I didn't want it. It was just going to lead to something that wasn't going to be productive for either side. So I decided to leave it alone. I chose not to engage in the back and forth yelling and cussing with Whack 100. I get it. Because you know how Whack 100, I'm Pyru. When I see you, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm Pyru. You know how Whack 100 get. So I get it. I wouldn't want to get in a screaming match with Whack 100 either because Whack 100 does that for a living. You're not going to beat, listen, you're not going to beat Whack 100 in a shouting match. It's not going to do it because Whack 100 does that for a living. But anyway, man, hit the like button, man. Let's get into the content.
Look, I've only watched the clip that was on Instagram. I haven't watched this podcast at all. So let's go ahead and watch the clip first of what they're talking about, and then we'll play the reaction.
Put a limit to how far a homie should go.
That's what they're doing now.
Exactly.
Yeah, even though with who though?
I'm not gonna lie. You know who they? Okay.
You saying between the blacks and the Mexicans?
Yes.
Yeah, it seems like the blacks will let you win, but only up to where they want to.
To a certain extent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where I'm.
So you got a black dude from a Mexican gang on a podcast with some Mexicans talking about blacks only allow Mexicans to go so far in hip hop, right? If you really feel like that, then why not just make music from your own culture? Why do you want blacks to elevate you in our culture? Make it make sense. We don't ask Mexicans to elevate us in music that comes from their culture. The haters world.
Blacks will let you win, but only
to a certain.
And that's a hell of a name, the haters world. What you're saying is I'm a hater and this is a haters world. I would never call myself a hater. I mean, but if you are a hater, then I guess the name fits, the shoe fits, you must wear it. I would never call myself a hater. That's crazy. Hater, 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 fool you are. Play a hater, hater, he know very well. Play a hater, hater, hater. Player hater even comes from black folks. All the slang we use comes from black folks for sheezy, for show. Player hater. On the dead homies, on the set. All this slang comes from foundational black Americans. No cap, that comes from black folks. All the slang that people use, all the music we listen to comes from foundational black Americans.
And see what he got to say. Now, look, I've only watched the clip that was on Instagram. I haven't watched this podcast at all. So let's go ahead and watch the clip first of what they're talking about, and then we'll play the reaction.
Put a limit to how far a homie should go.
That's what they're doing now.
Exactly.
Yeah, even though with who though?
I'm not gonna lie. You know who they? Okay.
You saying between the blacks and the Mexicans?
Yes.
Yeah, it seems like the blacks will let you win, but only up to where they want to.
To a certain extent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. Kind of like a tattoo artist only shows you a few tricks and that's it. Just
like
to
the
get
homie Peso. I ain't gonna lie, like not even on no, you know what I'm saying? I ain't worrying about what the comments talking about. But look, the homie, he like lyrically hard. Like,
I agree.
You could put him against another like brother rapper.
Yeah.
And it's possible for this Hispanic rapper
to beat him.
tear him apart. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's not fair.
No, you're not. It's not possible for him to tear him apart. He's copying everything that he's seen blacks do. When Mexicans want to learn how to rap, guess who they study? When Mexicans want to learn how to dress, guess who they study? Guess who they mimic? They're not studying Mexican culture because nobody wants to dress like a Mexican, talk like a Mexican, or make music like a Mexican. I'm being honest. You might feel, oh, that's disrespect. No, I'm telling you the truth. Black people don't want to dress like Mexicans. We don't want to talk like Mexicans. We don't want to make music like Mexicans. But guess what? On the flip side, Mexicans want to talk like black people. They want to dress like black people. They want to make music like us. So to make a long story short, Mexicans are copying everything we do because they want to be hip hop so bad. Mexicans have taken on black culture 100%. And we all know that they abandoned cholo culture a long time ago. They don't want to be cholos. They want to be hip hop. So they got to mimic black culture. They got to try their best to replicate the culture of foundational black Americans. So when you hear a Mexican rapping, he has studied and copied black folks. If you want to be a good rapper, guess who you got to study? Black people.
And this person,
and not just black people, I'm talking about foundational black Americans, because you got black people from Latin America, black people from Africa. They study and copy foundational black Americans.
he tearing apart as a mainstream artist, and he, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's not fair.
Yeah, but Peso here for longevity, though, I think.
Yeah, so he is, for sure.
It don't matter right now because I think that 10, 15 years from now, he's still going to be on.
Yeah, for sure. And Lefty, too. They got Lefty fucked up. That crazy, scary, spooky. That shit catchy.
Yeah.
You see that little, you see the little...
this black dude right here is just crazy. You're trying your best to fit in with Mexicans while they're copying our culture. That's just crazy. I'm black, but I want to be from a Mexican gang, even though Mexicans are trying their best to mimic black culture to make money off of our music. This is crazy. I don't care what nobody's saying. I'm telling the truth. We all know that Mexicans are trying their best to replicate and imitate black culture. Those are just the facts. I don't care who get upset. I don't care who get mad. I am telling the truth. Deal with the facts. Don't get mad at the messenger.
Mainstream people, like they do the little TikToks and they just stop everywhere. That little, like, come on, man. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like
that went more viral than the actual record. That little piece.
Yeah, the little piece.
Now look, anybody that wants to go look up the actual podcast, it is on the Hater World page, YouTube. I'm not gonna. You go look it up, and I'm talking to the viral way. You go look it up. Better. All right. Them. Go hit them with a subscribe. All right. I'm not a hater. Even though
well, your channel was called The Haters World. How are you gonna say you're not a hater when your channel was called The Haters World?
The Hater World, I'm not a hater. All right. So let's go.
I would never put hater in my title. I would never put that. I would never use that word to describe my channel or who I am as a person. The Haters World. Man, that's crazy.
And watch this video. Oh, what I had said on that clip is that I feel that the blacks allow you into a certain spot, and that's it. I didn't say that they hold you back. I didn't say that they're the reasons we don't make it. I didn't say that I disrespect blacks. I say that because we got people like Whack 100 out there running false narratives. We got people like BG Knockout out there running false narratives. We got my boy Spider Look. Salute to my boy. I don't mean to throw him under the bus, but he said, hey, Southsiders don't make it because of the language barrier. Okay? So therefore, when people put out these narratives, and they also put out I also hear a lot of narratives of like, you know, like I'll tell you which one, like the Whack 100 one, where he says that that if anybody signs a Southsider, that they're gonna have so many problems because the big homies are gonna come knocking and take your money, and nobody wants to deal. When you put out these fucking narratives,
what Whack 100 said is like, when you sign a Southsider, they have dictators. They have people who dictate to them. So that might interfere with your business. It might interfere with your business. That's what he was saying. You know, let's get some of my FBA people. Listen, man, we speak for the culture. We speak for the people. I need some of you foundational Black Americans that's really rocking with the content. Bless the Cash App now. Support the show. If you appreciate content like this, if you appreciate people standing on FBA business, make sure that you support this content when we slide through. We speak for the culture. We speak for the people, 100%.
Homie, and you put this into the universe, these fucking CEOs don't want to deal with drama and bullshit. And even though it's
all right, now he made this too. I think they put my picture on this thumbnail right here. They put my picture on this one. Check this out.
It comes to urban hip hop, right? Over here on the West Coast, right? You get to the East Coast, it's a different type of Latin vibe, Fat Joe shit like that, right?
You know, I don't get how.
So they put my picture right there, my dog Bobby Ye from Watts, and they put OG Bam from Compton. So you got LA, Watts, and Compton right here.
The black thing, stay out of it. It's for blacks only, blah, blah, blah. But all the record labels are owned by white people.
It comes
now. I want you to hear. He said it's owned by white people. Yes, because white people own most of everything in America. The culture and the talent comes from black people. The music comes from black people. So you being disrespectful as well, hey the world. I don't care about a white person owning the company. White people got rich off of black labor in this country. Whites in America got wealthy from the free labor that they got from foundational Black Americans. So of course they're going to own the record companies. White people was able to pass down generational wealth because they got wealthy from slavery. They got wealthy off of the free labor we gave this country. You can't listen. We invented several things. The gas mask created by Black American, the traffic light, Black American, the first open heart surgery, a Black man. The first blood transfusion, a Black man. The electric socket that you plug in, Black man. We created a lot of stuff that we don't get credit for. Why? Because when somebody owns you and you're considered property, the slave master will take credit for everything that you created, for everything that you invented. So of course, white people gonna own the companies, but the music and the talent comes from us. The culture is us. Well, I don't see how black people gonna say rap music is there because the white man owns the company. You see how disrespectful a lot of these Mexicans get? I don't care that the white man owns the company. We created the music. We are the culture. We are the trendsetters.
Urban hip hop, right? Over here on the West Coast, right? You get to the East Coast, it's a different type of Latin vibe, Fat Joe shit like that, right?
You know, I don't get how a lot of the black homies, I don't know how they always claim that hip hop is theirs. It's a black thing, stay out of it. It's for blacks only, blah, blah, blah. But all the record labels are owned by white people. So how is it that this is yours, but the fool that owns the label that allows you to do music is white?
It comes to urban hip hop, right? Over here on the West Coast, right? You get to the East Coast, it's a different type of Latin vibe, Fat Joe shit like that, right?
You know, I don't get how a lot of the black homies, I don't know how they always claim that hip hop is theirs. It's a black thing, stay out of it. It's for blacks only, blah, blah, blah. But all the record labels are owned by white people. So how is it that this is yours, but the fool that owns the label that allows you to do music is white?
It comes to urban hip hop, right? Over
now, that's disrespectful. Now you claim that you're cool with black folks. You know the culture and the music comes from FBA, Foundational Black Americans. We know why. We understand why white folks own these companies. We understand that because white people have stolen everything to get ahead in this country. So of course they're going to own these big time corporations and companies, these record labels. We understand that. Rap is black people. I'm gonna show you how crazy this fool sounds. We created the music, so of course it's a black thing. White people didn't create hip hop. White people didn't create rap music. Foundational Black Americans created, so of course it's ours. But we understand why whites own the companies, because whites got wealthy from the free labor whites got wealthy from the free labor that we gave them in this country. So of course they're going to own everything. Whites are kicking Mexicans out of America right now. Why? Because whites create the laws. So if white people say you got to go because you're not citizens of this country, you got to go. The reality of it is this: whites, not only do whites run a lot of these record companies, they run this country. Yeah. Do you know, listen, Mexicans got to pay homage to black people. I'm going to tell you why Mexicans got to pay homage to black people. The 14th Amendment was created for foundational Black Americans, the people who built the country for free. We gave this country well over 2 centuries of free labor. You know how much wealth you can make off somebody giving you free labor for over 2 centuries? Then on top of that, you take credit for the things that they created. You take credit for the things they invented. Mexicans were able to come over here and get birthright citizenship because of the 14th Amendment that was created for foundational Black Americans. This is why Mexicans crossed the border illegally to have babies on purpose, because they said, well, if I can have a baby in this country, my child is a citizen. But if you really study the law, that law was not created for illegal immigrants and border hoppers. That law, the 14th Amendment, was for foundational Black Americans, but illegal immigrants took full advantage of something that was created for foundational Black Americans. They should have nipped this in the bud a long time ago. If you came over here illegally, it don't matter if you have a baby in this country, that child is not a citizen because the mother is not a citizen. She came over here illegally. She is undocumented. So technically her child is not a citizen. See, foundational Black Americans, we didn't come over here illegally for the sole purpose of dumping anchor babies. We didn't do that. So we're not immigrants. The 14th Amendment was created for foundational Black Americans, the 13th and 14th Amendment. And when you think about the Civil Rights Bill that was passed in the 60s, guess who benefit from the civil rights that Black Americans fought for? Mexicans, Africans, minorities, all people of color. Mexicans benefit from the civil rights that we fought for. Black Americans, listen, when Black Americans fought for civil rights, we didn't just fight for Black Americans, we fought for all people of color and all minorities. When in reality, we should have never done that. We should have never fought for all minorities and people of color. We should have fought for foundational Black Americans and foundational Black Americans only. Because guess what? When Latinos and Asians fight for laws, they only fight for laws that benefit them. When Asians and Latinos fight for laws, they only fight for laws that benefit them and them only. When foundational Black Americans fought for civil rights, we got dog sicked on us. A lot of us got unaligned. A lot of us got thrown in prison fighting for these civil rights. So we did all the hard work so that everybody can have civil rights, just for these people to be racist when they come to this country. And the only reason that they can come to this country because they benefit from everything we fought for, the 14th Amendment and the Civil Rights Movement. They benefit from everything we fought for. But we're the main people that they disrespect when they come to this country. Now you understand the importance of gatekeeping your culture. The same people who benefit from our struggle are the same people who disrespect you the moment that they come to this country. Now, I'm giving you the facts. I got to give you the facts. Hit the like button. You know it ain't nothing. Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Shout out to my people. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Yeah, man, we got to gatekeep everything, man. The 14th Amendment was only for foundational Black Americans. It wasn't created for people who crossed the border illegally for the sole purpose of dumping an anchor baby for birthright citizenship. But they took full advantage of a law that was never meant for them in the first place. Mexicans didn't lose their life fighting for civil rights. Foundational Black Americans was on the front line fighting for civil rights in the 60s. So when these illegals come to America, what do? The first thing they talk about is their rights. And none of these illegals fought for the civil rights that they benefit from. Foundational Black Americans is the reason that people of color and all minorities have civil rights. We the ones that made it possible for you to have civil rights when you come to America. Yeah, foundational Black Americans fought for that. We fought for the rights. We fought for the civil rights that you have in this country. Anyway, man, hit the like button, man. I'm just giving you some facts about history.
It's false bullshit. You got people like Wack that put it out there continuously over and over and over again to the point where it scares people from not signing a Southsider or a homie, right? Now, maybe I should have worded it different, right? But it don't matter. I said what I said and I'm gonna stand on it. Now, again, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. All right? So let's go ahead and press play on this video and see what the viral way got to say.
But basically, they went out there on record to say that blacks are holding them back in hip hop.
Yeah, that was a crazy shit.
They said blacks only let Hispanics get.
Oh, and if you go and watch the official podcast with Mr. Keep It Hood, I explain why I feel like that. So as a journalist, do your homework.
No, we don't need to do our homework. What you said was plain and simple. Nothing about it was complex. It was simple as ABC and 1, 2, 3. You didn't say anything that was profound. You didn't say anything that was just so hard to figure out. It was plain and simple. You said that blacks only allow Mexicans and Latinos to go so far in hip hop. That's exactly what you said.
So successful in rap. Like, we are gatekeeping hip hop.
I explain why I feel like that. So as a journalist, do your homework.
So successful in rap. Like, we are gatekeeping hip hop from Hispanic culture. What y'all think about this? This is crazy.
This is some more bullshit to me. Yeah. But this is what is basically finding any reason to basically go against this. It's like, I seen them bring up Kendrick and shit. And they brought up Kendrick and was basically mad that Kendrick didn't bring Lefty or somebody else to perform at one of the performances
at the pop out and at the forum.
He put this man on this new album.
And look, I've said it before, but again, nobody's gonna do their fucking homework, so I'm not here to do it for you. I've said it before. I said on that podcast, I said that Kendrick didn't bring Lefty out, right? I didn't say it was a problem. I just said he didn't, right? But
he was speaking about Mexicans in general. Maybe you said that, Hater World, but Mexicans in general, a lot of them, well, I ain't gonna say in general, but a lot of them that was saying, like, when Kendrick Lamar did that pop out last year, right, for Juneteenth, a lot of Mexicans don't even know what Juneteenth is. They just want to take advantage of the culture so that they can get exposure, so that they can make money off of our culture. They don't even know what Juneteenth is. The dude named L.A. Icon thought Juneteenth had something to do with Tulsa, Oklahoma. No, Juneteenth had everything to do with the black slaves who were free in Galveston, Texas. That's when they realized they was free after the Civil War, because blacks fought in the Civil War. Black men fought in the Civil War. They lost their lives and they fought and died for us to have the rights that we have. The Buffalo Soldiers, the black men that fought in the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln said it himself, if it wasn't for the blacks fighting in the Civil War, the South would have won. The only reason that the North won the Civil War because all of the blacks that joined the military, all of the Buffalo Soldiers that helped the North to fight against the South. Anybody with common sense knows that. The South was whipping the North. Listen, homie, the South was terrorizing the North. So the North said, you know what, we need some of these black men to join the army. If we can get some of these black men to join the army, that'll help us to defeat the South. If the South would have won that war, slavery would have moved on. Slavery would have been just a normal thing in America. But blacks joined the army. They fought with the North against the South. And when the North won the war, we was victorious. That gave us our freedom. They said, if you blacks help us in the Civil War, if you help us to defeat the South, we'll give you your freedom and slavery would be over. We'll abolish slavery if you help us to fight this war against the South. And that's exactly what black men did. They signed up to fight that war, to help the North battle the South. And as a result of that, the North was victorious going against the South. That's why slavery was abolished. And when slavery got abolished, it paved the way for other minorities and people of color to come here. Just like when foundational Black Americans fought for civil rights, it paved the way for other immigrants and minorities and people of color to come here. Black men are the ones who put their life on the line. For you, black men put their lives on the line for everybody to have the civil rights that they have once they come to this country. Seriously.
Said before, and I've said it many times, that I feel Lefty was not ready for that stage, so that it was a good thing that Kendrick Lamar didn't bring him out. I've said that many times, and I've also said many times, maybe hundreds of times, that Kendrick didn't have to put Lefty and Peso on the album. So salute, even if it was 4 words, right? But again,
one of the biggest albums of the year, and to sit here and say that's.
For some reason, I don't know what it is, homeboy, but for some reason, we only got 2 people on the Cash App. We got Back in Action on the Cash App, and we got Evelyn on the Cash App. We got 300 plus people in here. We need more foundational Black Americans to support this show. It only makes sense. We're dropping hot fire on one of the few people that's willing to stand up for the culture. One of few. Because most blacks in LA, most of your Black LA podcasters, they just talk about gang banging in prison and black on black violence all day. They don't talk about nothing real, the majority of them. Now, shout out to Bobby Ye, shout out to the Viral Way podcast, and a few others. But the majority of these Black YouTubers and Black podcasters from LA, they talk about gang bang dumb stuff all day. All they talk about is black on black violence all day. That's cool to address it sometimes because we got to address it. I address it. But you're not going to see me talking about gang banging in prison all day. You know, that's just dumb at this point. At some point, our people got to wake up to move forward to do bigger and better things. This ain't the 1990s or the 1980s or the early 2000s. Why would I want to make content talking about gang banging in prison all day? That is counterproductive. It's cool to address it sometimes, but when you talk about gang banging in prison every day, that is low frequency content. That is low vibrational content. That content is for bottom feeders. Now, I get it. You might get views talking about that, but when you talk about gang banging in prison every day, that is low vibrational content. That's keeping our people mentally stuck. Let's talk about prison and gang banging every day. Man, that's keeping our people stuck, man. You're going to lose brain cells listening to these dudes talking about gang banging in prison every single day.
Like me telling you, I give you the game until you go spread your wings. I'm trying to, like, I'm clipping your wings.
I'm gonna just keep it G with you, bro. And I got Mexican homeboys, certain Mexican songs that do be knocking songs, but overall, bro, Mexican rap isn't that good. Like,
that's facts.
In general, it's just not that good. I mean, you had Lil Rob. I know you got Lefty Gunplay. You got Cypress Hills, and he was with.
The only reason that the North won the Civil War is because of the black soldiers. If it wasn't for the black soldiers, they would have lost that war. They would have lost that war. Seriously. Just keeping it a stack with you. If the black soldiers would have never signed up to fight that war, the South would have won that war. The North would have lost. That's a fact, homeboy.
YG and them, Sad Boy Loco. Like, it's only a handful of them I can really name.
They so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's only so much you can name. Like, they.
Hey, should I sit here and cry and whine about his opinion about Mexican rap? Should I sit here and cry about how he just disrespected Mexicans because he don't like?
He didn't disrespect Mexicans. What he said is their music ain't that good. Mexicans got to study black rappers to make good music. Now, the Mexicans who make music that sounds okay, or I'm being real with you. I don't listen to Mexican rap, period. I barely listen to black rappers. So if I don't listen to black rappers, you know I'm not gonna listen to no Mexican rapper, especially when Mexicans are copying everything that black rappers do. So if I barely listen to black rappers, why would I want to listen to a Mexican rapper who is copying black rappers? It makes no sense. It's not disrespect, he's just telling the truth.
Like the rappers. No, I don't give a fuck. If you like Little Rob and you don't like this guy, then that's cool. That's your fuck.
Rapping about like the cholo style, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's we don't relate to a lot of their music, and it's kind of just for them. So it's only gonna be limited of who's go bump their music. So
But to say that.
Well, this is what they're doing. They say, okay, if you don't want to listen to cholo music, then we'll make music that sounds more black, that's exactly what the young generation of Mexicans are doing. They're making music that sounds more black, which means they are studying and copying the style that blacks rap in. They're studying the style that we dress and how we talk. So the young Mexican rappers, they want to sound like Nipsey Hussle. They want to sound like Drake Yo the Ruler. They want to sound like YG. They want to sound like EBK J-Bo. So when you listen to these young Mexican rappers, they sound just like black people. So it's like it's like, okay, we don't want to hear cholo rap, but at the same time, we don't want to listen to Mexicans who are trying their best to sound like black people. If that's the case, we'll just listen to black people. Why do we need to listen to Mexicans who are trying to sound like black people when we can just listen to black people, the originators? Make it make sense.
Hey, but that's good advice from this homie in the middle. Salute. He's giving you rappers some advice. Take that advice and use it. So, hey, listen, salute to the dude in the middle, homie. He's giving you some great advice. I'm not a rapper, so I really don't care. But he's giving advice to those that do rap.
Like we're gatekeeping and we're holding them back. We're the most welcome race. We allow anybody to come in hip hop and dissect and dilute the culture no matter what. You know what I'm saying? We accept everybody.
Shout out to Plant Base for another super chat. Back in Action has blessed us with 2 cash apps. Let's get some more of you brothers to bless that cash app and show some of that beautiful love. Oh yeah.
Everybody with open arms. So to say we're holding people back is crazy fucking work. I just feel like that was just some controversy they needed to say.
They just saying
to
shit.
even really feel that way, it's like.
Again, I never said that you guys are gatekeeping. When I mean you guys, I mean like the black homies, the rappers. Because I'm not talking about these guys. These guys are not rappers. They're not in the rap business. From what I
Okay, well, why would you say the black homie? Mexicans gatekeep their culture? Haters world, let me tell you something. If you go to a construction site and the supervisor is Mexican, the managers are Mexican, they're gonna gatekeep those positions for Mexican people, which is why they only hire Mexican people for the most part. There was a lawsuit filed in California about Mexicans who work at these construction sites and these warehouse jobs, how they are gatekeeping these jobs for only Mexicans. Mexicans gatekeep their neighborhoods. Mexicans gatekeep their culture. And I'm not mad at them for doing that. But don't get mad with black folks when we gatekeep our culture. Everybody who's being honest will tell you that Mexicans are known to gatekeep their culture. If you go to East LA, they don't want blacks living over there. They was firebombing the few black people who did live over there. They firebombed the apartments of the few black people who live there. So Mexicans are known to gatekeep their communities, their neighborhoods. They gatekeep these jobs that they have power at. If a Mexican is a supervisor or a manager at a construction site or at a warehouse, they're going to gatekeep those jobs for more Mexicans and Latinos. Huh? Mexicans are known to gatekeep their culture. Mexicans are known to gatekeep these positions at certain jobs because if a Mexican is a supervisor, for the most part, 90% of those people at that job will be Mexican. That is a known fact. If you're from California, Arizona, or Texas, you know I'm telling the truth.
I know that they're podcasters. They might know some rappers here and there, but they're not literally signed to no rap label. So I'm not speaking about you guys. I'm speaking about, like I said earlier.
All right, let me go to this right here. Hit the like button, man. You know it ain't nothing. Hold on real quick. Show some love to the show, man. I'm not making this up. Yeah. Mexicans are known to gatekeep jobs where, they're just known to do that.
Earlier, the fake narratives that are out there on purpose. Okay, now if you guys would have asked me and maybe try to like conversate, hey, what's up, big dog? What's going on? Why you feel like this? Why you feel like this? Maybe I would have said something along the lines of these false narratives that are out there are scaring the people that are signing these Mexicans. All right. I talked to one of the homies, right, and he goes, "ABD, Wack says that he didn't speak to nobody directly to tell them to chop down Lefty's deal, right? But just the videos he does on Clubhouse and all over the internet, we had a deal lined up for this many millions, and because what he said, they chopped our deal in half. There you go. There's a perfect example. All right. How many more is there? How many more? Come on, dog. Listen, stop trying to put everybody again. Stop trying to pin everybody when I'm only speaking about a certain few. Now, look, maybe I should have worded it.
Well, when you say blacks, like you pretty much said that. Well, this is what you said. You said that blacks are keeping Mexicans out of hip hop, and when they get in hip hop, blacks only allow them to go so far. That's what you said, man. That's exactly what you said. Hit the like button. That's what he said, man. We ain't gonna sugarcoat it. It is what it is. Can't make this up, man.
Introducing the African injustice.
Journalism, it's warmed my heart. These are the sorts of stories that we need to see, we need to report, and we need to support. So there is this man who happens to own a construction company in the US, and he put up a TikTok video that has gone viral, and the conversations in the comment section, we're going to come to those shortly. So essentially, he was talking about during his time, obviously at work, that there was a Latino worker who came to meet him, pretty much snitching on the African American workers in the construction company, telling him that he should sack, fire, and let go of the African American workers so that he can bring his own Latino people over to work there.
African American, I'm African. I don't have any relationship with the African American. The Latino comes to me because the Latino.
Now, this dude is an African. He's not even a foundational black American. Check it out. Listen to what he said. I done construction jobs. I worked at warehouses. So I know that Mexicans gatekeep these positions for their people. I know this to be a fact.
Things because I'm African, I don't have any relationship with African American. The Latino comes to me and tell me that you are an immigrant. I'm an immigrant. That African American cannot work. I have Jose, I have Gonzalez, my brothers who know how to work very well. You need to fire the African Americans, and I will bring a lot of hardworking Latinos who work for your company. This is my company as a black man. My company.
You know what? Let me pause this for a second.
She's African too.
Because what I also...
She's African too, so it just is what it is. Anyway, man, you know what? Make sure that you guys bless the light, but in Houston too. Right. I know it's in Houston too, because I did some content about what was going on over there in Houston. Anyway, man, all I'm saying is this: Mexicans are known to gatekeep jobs. They're known to gatekeep their culture. But blacks, we're supposed to share everything that we got with everybody else. They're supposed to be this big minority coalition where we just share everything with everybody else while they share nothing with us. Hit that like button, man. Show some love to the show. You know? I don't think it was just black soldiers. Obviously, the South was whooping the North, but a major disadvantage was Lincoln's access to Federal Reserve. It was a coup. The North had the bread. Shout out to Active Chucks. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, bro. We would be crazy if we don't gatekeep our culture. You know how long white folks been stealing from us? You know how long other cultures been taking and stealing from our community? We would be ignorant if we don't gatekeep our culture. Everybody else has the right to gatekeep their stuff, but they don't want us to gatekeep our stuff. Man, this is crazy. Crazy. Anyway, man, this is my show for today, man. I've been here for 2 hours. Tap in with your player partner, King Supreme. Make sure that you like the show. And oh yeah, hype the video once it uploads to YouTube. I appreciate everybody for pulling up, but I got to get up out of here. Let me see how y'all did on those likes real quick, man. Because I want y'all to get those likes up for me in a major way. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you guys get the likes up for your boy. We're coming with the hard-hitting facts. We need 300 more. We need more people to bless that like button. So far, we got a few people to bless the like button. We need more people to bless that like button. So let's get some more people to bless that like button. It ain't nothing. Peace, love, and blessings. Giving you gain to keep you from stressing. It's King Supreme. I'm gone.